Welcome to Out. Sorry, not Out Goes In. Welcome to That Makes Me Mad. Humble apologies, folks, for the late start. These things happen. These are live programs. And Mr. Pierre was explaining that he had some issues with his vehicle. So without further ado, let me introduce my very special guest today. And I'm indeed very happy to have him live in studio, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, leader of the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party, and of course, leader in the House of Assembly. Mr. Pierre, good morning to you.
Morning, Andre. Morning to listeners. Thanks for having me, and my apologies. I had some issues which I could not avoid, but I'm here,
Yes.
and let's hope we can rumble.
Yes, exactly. And let's try to get into the action as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
Now, we've heard about your planned rally for this coming Sunday, right? So what time will this rally take place, and what's the whole idea behind the rally?
Well, first of all, the rally is the continuation of the opposition's plea, and I want to say plea, to the government to complete St. Jude Hospital. We think that it is time. All the arguments have been heard, all the political posturings have been done, but the people of St. Lucia and the people of the South are suffering. And I think we've been having all these discussions, but I don't think we're speaking about the people. Why do we speak about who did this and who did that and who is not giving the right news and who is... The people are suffering. And that is my concern. The George Odlum Stadium can no longer serve as a hospital. Now, we have conflicting stories. The opposition's position is clear. We always intended to complete St. Jude Hospital, and we never stopped work on St. Jude Hospital. That position is clear. Now, you make the point is made, and I wanted to deliver that very quickly. Oh, why didn't y'all finish St. Jude Hospital? We could have said, why didn't y'all finish the OKE Hospital? We could have said so, because when the Democratic Party came into power, the OKE Hospital was in progress. There was money to finish it, but it didn't finish. We've never said so, because we know that hospitals are not as easy to be built as people are saying. We could also say, why didn't y'all finish? Why didn't you not stop the Canaries Bridge? Why did you not stop the bridge at Tomaso? Right? We could say, why didn't we not stop the building, the financial center building? We continue all these projects. Why it is only in St. Jude Hospital that the government chose to stop? Now, people seem to think that history, you can rewrite history. Now, I want to take some time, Andre, if you allow me, to go through the steps that the government inherited when it came to St. Jude Hospital.
And just before you do that,
Yes,
Mr. Pierre, let me just take note of a word you used there. You said you're making a plea.
Almost a plea now.
To the government. But don't you think it sounds more like demands? Like, for example, we will not accept anything but finish the hospital, that sort of thing. Don't you think that you sound like you're demanding from the government?
What we're saying to the government is that we are still demanding, but we're saying that we're pleading also for the people. It's not about me, It's not about Philip J. Pierre or Kenny Anthony or Ernest Hilaire or even Alan Chasney. It's not about them or us. It's about the poor people of St. Lucia who deserve health care, and they are at the George Odlum Stadium, where, according to medical people, because of the situation, they are dying. Lives are being lost, Andre. And we playing political upmanship when lives are being lost.
But Mr.
Now,
Pierre,
I want to get back to the position.
Just hold your thought.
Yes.
But on the issue of people dying and so on, I mean, people die at hospitals every single day.
Yes.
So how do we know it's related to the fact that the healthcare is in crisis and so on?
Because the medical professionals who have no axe to grind, because of patients who go to the hospital, because of the pure physical conditions at the hospital. You don't need to be any expert to know that a stadium can't be a hospital indefinitely. I mean, this is just, you don't have to be any expert to know that. Fact is, the conditions at St. Jude are not at St. George Odlum Stadium are not good.
So what about all the explanations coming from the government now in terms of the situation with St. Jude? That
is what I'm coming to.
Yeah, okay.
And I want to go back a little bit, because we seem to forget the history. The government came into power. First of all, when we came into power, we found work continuing on St. Jude. It was not our government that had changed the plans for St. Jude. It was the United Workers' Party government that changed the plans for St. Jude and said, listen to me, let's not build on a new site. Let's not fix what's there, but let's make a larger hospital. Let's expand on the existing site. We came into power, we found that going, we continued. And these are important words. Using the same people that the United Workers' Party contracted. The same people. The consultants, we were not the ones who appointed the consultants. We were not the ones who appointed the contractors. Using the same people they contracted, we continued. There was no money. Grants continued to come in. We went out. The foreign minister, Alpha Baptiste, went out, looked for money, tried to continue people, and I want to thank them for that, both local and overseas, putting the money in. We continued. When the point came, when the money was not enough, the Prime Minister, at the time, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Anthony, went to Taiwan and he sought a loan of $20 million. The idea is to continue the hospital, to continue building the hospital. Let's fast forward. 6th of June. And I want you to remember, because you know, right now in the days of communications and technology, nobody, including you or me, can say anything that's not recorded and people will not come back to it. The days when you used to speak on a little box in the back of the and say, all right, no, I can say what I want, man, nobody will hear me. I remember when I started in politics, people used to say, man, you're on a platform, say what you want, nobody will hear you. That's not everybody hearing you now all over the world. The first thing that happens in Jude is the Minister for Economic Development said, St. Jude is in a mess. First thing. We visited them, the corridors are too small, the doors, there's no air conditioning. First thing. First thing. Then he ordered the police. And I want to make a plea to the police. My father was a policeman. Do not allow politicians to use you. Do your job. Your job is to defend law and order and to observe the law. Do not allow politicians. Because, you know, not because the man is a government minister, he's not a politician, you know. The Prime Minister is a chief politician. He's a Prime Minister now, but he's a chief politician. Right? Now, so, first of all, that's the first thing, bad faith. Then you go, you take things from people's homes, you give the impression that these things are stolen and they're not used, they're not for the hospital. Police, bad faith. Secondly, you proclaim you're going to the Director of Public Prosecutions. I want you to remember these things, Andre. I want the public to remember it. The second thing you say, you're going to the Director of Public Prosecutions. So, in your own space, with your own knowledge, without even looking for the expertise, God bless you, you're not an engineer, you're not a hospital, you're nothing in that respect. That you say you're going to the Director of Public Prosecutions, so you say to the public there's something wrong is happening. Then that doesn't happen, but you stop work, you know. You stop work on the hospital. Now, you know, Angie, from your limited knowledge of building, as soon as you stop work on some things get worse. Once you close a building, it gets worse. So that is, I don't know why this happens all the time. Then after, you commit an audit. The audit tells you that the building can be used as a hospital. On page 162, that the building can be used as a hospital. You refuse to disclose to the public that audit. You refuse. But you continue. This is that. Corridors. All kind of things. Then, to add insult to injury, you have a handover report. And I want you to listen, because I don't think that people are listening. The emotions are clouding the judgment. There is a handover report that details what is the position of the hospital. It is said that the hospital was not built for professional standards. If you look at the handover report, you will see on page of the handover report, it says what steps the government was taking to bring the hospital to professional standards. Page 23, number 12. You understand? When the decision was taken to reconstruct St. Jude Hospital, it was understood that the facility upon transfer and once operational would seek accreditation. And it's written, you know, it's right there. You refuse to tell the public, I have a report. What the government should do, if the government wasn't in bad faith, they should have taken that report and go through it and tell the public, that's not right, that's wrong, etc. That report never mentions any politician. It speaks about a project steering committee. There is no politician in there. It speaks about the engineers and technocrats, no politicians in there. But the government, if the government didn't have bad faith, they will take that report, discuss it with the public, go to the ministry or whatever, discuss and say what is wrong in that. But in their own deliberate judgment, by the own opinion of the Prime Minister and his Minister of Economic Development and the Minister of Health, they've just decided that the building is not good. 2 years. Then you blame everybody. You blame this. You're going to look for a financial audit. Goodness gracious. Do your financial audit. Do whatever you want. But get the people out of the George Odlum Stadium. Look at the energy we put into building a horse track. We bring energy. We want to build temporary stands for a horse racing track. We want all kinds of things. The Prime Minister has made 2 visits to see horse racing because he believes that that is something that's good for St. Lucia. But a hospital, what you're doing about a hospital, people's lives, is that you're playing politics and trying to have upmanship and see who you can prove is wrong and who did what is wrong, what is right.
So how exactly is he doing that?
Come on, Andrew. You've heard all the accusations. Now he's going to financial audit. Then a time it's a forensic audit. Another time it's an interim audit. All kinds of audits, and the people are dying. People are dying and suffering at the George Odlum Stadium. What are we saying to the government?
Now hold on a second.
Your own report says that the building can be used for hospital. Your own report says that. So build as well and do whatever you want after. This government, the Labour Party, has nothing to hide. We say to the government, do whatever you want. Forensic, interim, technical, whatever audit you want. But do your audit, but not let people pay because you want to victimize or you want to make Labour Party politicians look bad. Don't let the people pay for it because it's 2 years and you are responsible. The people do not vote for the government to blame the Labour Party. The people voted for the government to improve things. The government said they would do things better. So they didn't vote for us, vote for them to blame us. Blame us, but continue the hospital. That's all we're saying. Continue the hospital. But you have mixed messages. Now, you're going to put a medical... It takes the government 2 years to decide, and they're very proud about it. Oh, the Prime Minister will make a decision about the hospital in 30 days. And that's supposed to be great. He's supposed to be happy about that after 2 years. Secondly, you have all sorts of rumors. The Minister of Health says, first of all, he said the building is supposed to be demolished. Then they come back and say it's not full demolishment, it's half. Part of the building will be demolished. Then they come back and say it's going to be a medical school. Andre, let's be realistic about it. Donor countries gave you money. The Taiwanese gave you a loan. Poor St. Lucians put them money. Children worked for St. Jude's. People went overseas. You're going to take it and hand it over to a private sector firm to make profit? This can't be right.
Yeah, but Mr. Pierre, how do you know that this is exactly what he'll be doing? Because you're already saying that he will hand it over to some private investor to make profit. How did you arrive at that?
The point I'm making is that it has been said in many places by the Minister of Health that the building is going to be used as a private school, a medical school. And the other minister...
But you also said that a decision had not been taken.
When they have been... that is the exact point I'm making. Is the indecision and the mixed messages. And you hit the point. I'm glad you said so. The mixed messages. Because you see, what the government doesn't understand that they must stop playing politics. And they are in government. They are there to govern the country. This pettiness and this vindictiveness of this government, trying to make somebody look bad, and always trying to say, listen to me, oh, you didn't do it, I did it. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but you haven't answered my question.
Yes.
How do you know that the Prime Minister will take a decision to privatize the hospital?
All I'm saying to the Prime Minister is, do not take that decision. That's what we say. The Party is saying, do not take that decision.
And again, we
continue St. Jude's.
But we go back
and
to
it's for 2 years. We have been saying to you to continue, not continue. Continue it.
But we go back to the same point I was making earlier. Don't you think maybe that's, you're not making a plea. You sound like you're making a demand of the government to do that. Mr. Pierre, just to reverse the roles for a second. Huh?
Yes.
Imagine the United Workers' Party was in opposition and you were in government,
yeah.
and they were getting that sort of rhetoric from the opposition while you were in office, how would you have reacted to that?
Mr. Andrew Paul, you forgot the United Workers Party in opposition. The United Workers Party said we were making 680 on a gallon of gas. I think you have don't have short memories. The United Workers Party said that we were making $6.80 a gallon. You remember the amount of things the United Workers Party opposed everything we did when they were in opposition.
Yes, but
they opposed everything.
Right,
they called the Prime Minister a little boy, not fit. Alan Chassis said Kenny Anthony was a little boy, not fit to be Minister of Finance. Guy Joseph said that Alan Chassis and that Kenny Anthony cannot tie his shoelaces. I mean, you know the amount of things that were said. You know the amount of demands. Alan Chassis marched for 680 on gas. The Orange March. They said that. I mean, they said that we had dialysis machines that you weren't opening. Come on.
But did your government give in now to those demands?
Of course. What our government did. Well, our government did not go after them as they're going after us. Our government explained its position. You must understand. Let's look at.
So in other words, you didn't give in to the demands.
No. The point I'm making to you, forget about who made the demands. The demands are the people cannot remain at the George Odom Stadium, and the government should get them out.
No, you said a while ago that there was opposition. Rightly so. They're in opposition. But I'm asking if or whether your government acceded to those demands that were being made at the time, just like you are now making demands of the government.
What the government of the Labour Party did, the government of the Labour Party listened to the opposition. The government of the Labour Party invited the opposition to be a part of the health transition in St. Lucia. The Prime Minister said, listen to me, let us form a bipartisan committee to deal with health. We don't want to say so, you know. The opposition at the time did not get involved in that. The government said, the Labour Party said, let us form, when we were going to CIP, we invited the opposition to be part of that discussion. So what we are saying is we listened to the opposition. We even invited them. When we were in government, we had parliament meetings every month. This government holds parliament meetings when they want. So you must look at, we facilitated the role of the opposition. What this government does, they just bash the opposition, hoping they can silence us. This government has spoken about all kinds of things, commission of inquiries. They have spoken about all kinds of different things. You understand? Just for them to believe. As one minister says, what legacy? That's what they say about the opposition. What legacy? This government has a fixation with making the opposition look bad, with being vindictive, and when they do that, people are dying at the George Odom Stadium.
And let's deal with that issue about people dying. Because as I said earlier, people die at hospitals every single day. So how do we know that the people who are dying as a result of the healthcare situation in St. Lucia, which according to your party is in crisis?
And I want to quote from the Medical and Dental Association, who all in a sudden, people have begun to say they are politicians. I want to listen.
Well, what they're saying is that how come when your party was in office, they were not agitating?
Because there was no St. George Odom Stadium. There were no two new buildings that will have closed. There were no two new buildings. There weren't a OK also that was ready to go. There was no building at St. Jude's that was ready to be built. There was no George Odom Stadium. The situation was fundamentally different as it is now. And that is a point that I'm glad you brought it up, because you see, that is the political umbrage that is committed by the United Workers Party, trying to sidestep the issue. You go on, the point is, the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association spoke out when the situation had reached crisis level. And you will admit that it is at crisis level. Here you have a situation where you have two buildings, hospital buildings, OKU and St. Jude. Both of them, the government refuses to open them or doesn't take the necessary steps to get them going. Recently, they started at OKU, and if you listen to them, you'll believe that they just came in and they found, and they just, all in a sudden, they got OKU doing. From September 2016, all the equipment was at the OKU. September 2016. It took the government up to April 2018 to begin transitioning. September 2016, all the equipment was positioned at the OKU. The government did nothing about it. So the Medical and Dental Association, the situation has reached a crisis level.
And I want you to explain that. When you say crisis level, you spoke about people dying and so on.
It's reached a crisis level because you have people at a stadium that is clearly not built for a hospital. You have a situation where you have a St. Jude building that people put their money in it. They put their money in it. You have a loan, and then you refuse to finish it.
Yes, but,
you have a situation,
but Mr. Pierre, what does that have to do with people dying?
Because the physical conditions at the Jordan Stadium are not conducive to a hospital. And when there's poor care and bad care in the hospital, people die. It's very easy. Look, there's a situation where there is a machine. There's a machine that I think, I did something. I do not want to get involved in terms I don't know about. So I don't want to say that germs cast stick on drywall. I don't want to get involved in these things. I don't get involved in these things. Because these things, I'm a management consultant. I'm not a medical expert. I can only quote what the medical experts say. Too many people believe because the people voted for them, they become experts in everything overnight. Because they won an election, become a minister, they become experts in everything. I'm not like that. I seek advice from people who know. And here's my point of reference. These deplorable circumstances in which we are expected to deliver healthcare services to the public accounts for the poor quality of our healthcare delivery customs, and increasing numbers of unwarranted deaths, all continue to spiral out of control. These are the people who work in the hospital, not me. These are not my words.
Is this a statement from the medical
institution? Yes, an exact statement from them. It's not me saying that. When my point of reference is a point of reference from experts, and that's what the government should do. Instead of government allowing to let the petty political emotions drive them, they should go to the experts. And here are the experts. St. Jude Hospital Reconstruction Project. And here are the experts. Commissioning plan, new hospital commissioning project status, developing of a sustainable financing mechanism for the St. Lucia health sector. That one in particular was prepared by clients, delegation of the European Union to the government of St. Lucia, implemented by ECROIS, Rotterdam, February 29, 2015. These are the experts that speak about these matters. What the government should do, if the government wasn't acting in bad faith, the government should bring these experts together, talk to them, let the people of St. Lucia know, and let's move forward.
And when you say I'm operating in bad faith, because you keep saying so, what exactly do you mean?
The government is operating in bad faith because up to today, the government refuses to admit that the St. Jude Hospital can continue as an hospital, in spite of the work from their own experts. The interim audit says on page 162 that the building can be used as a hospital. That's what I'm saying. And I've traced the history of the governments and the treatment of St. Jude. The government never came into St. Jude with clean hands. The government had a fixation that there was something wrong in St. Jude's, and somebody would cry. There was a fixation. All the history tells you that. It's clear, Andre. It's clear. Did the government ever call the project manager of the hotel and tell him, all right, come in the public. Project manager, let's go in the public. Bring them on your show. Bring them on their own show. Let the home communications person question them. Let them say, listen to me. You were in charge of this project since I started it. You were in charge of it. I was not the one who appointed you. Come to the public and say to the public what you found and why isn't the building complete, and why is the corridor too small, and why germs can stick on drywall.
Now, Mr. Pierre, we have a lot to cover, so I just want to ask you one last question related to St. Jude. What if when the Prime Minister makes his announcement in the next 10, 15 days, whatever the case may be, that he says, you know something, we are going to construct a new hospital?
We will say to the Prime Minister, congratulations, go ahead and do it now. That's what we'll be going to say. We applaud that decision, go ahead and do it now. And we say to our people, our advocacy, our pressure worked, and the government is going. But I'm saying to you, knowing
the I think you misunderstood my statement, my question. I'm asking, what if the government decides to build a new hospital?
We will say, our position will be clear. We think it's a waste of money a waste of time, and will continue to advocate for the government to continue work on St. Jude's. Our position has been based on viewing all the circumstances, listening to experts from the government's own interim report that says the building can continue to be used as a hospital.
But wouldn't you be, in a sense, kind of wasting your time? Because if the government takes a decision to build a new hospital,
Andre,
if you continue to agitate and they already made up their minds...
Andre, politicians never waste their time. There is one day of reckoning, election day. You see, a lot of people think that we wasted them. For example, you know, we are living in a system of 5 years of reckoning. So, and I want all politicians to remember, as we remember, and as I remember from my 5 election victories, that there is one day of reckoning. And we politicians seem to forget that one day of reckoning. So the government can do whatever they want. They can manage and say, we are coming with what they want. And you heard the Prime Minister, the Labour Party lost its right to say that from June the 6th, that arrogance. 37,000 people voted for us, and we've lost our rights. 37,000 voted for us, and 46,000 voted for you. 9,000 people different, but we've lost our rights. You see the arrogance? The opposition has never lost its right. The opposition was not elected in government by the majority, but that doesn't mean that people do not support the opposition. The 9,000 votes difference can be measured to 3 or 4 constituencies, but the opposition said we lost. We have always accepted the fact that we've lost the elections. I congratulated the Prime Minister. I said to him, congrats, you won the election. If the thing's positive, I'll work with you. But the government continues this arrogance. How can the Prime Minister say we've lost our right? They appointed the Governor General. In all democratic states, the leader of the opposition is called, and listen to me, I'm appointing Andrew Paul as Governor General. What do you think? It happened in the Trinidad President, who is equivalent to the Governor General. Both houses agreed. The Barbados Governor General, both houses agreed. In St. Lucia, the Prime Minister did not have the courtesy to call, not Philip J. Pierre, but to call the leader of the opposition and say to him, I'm appointed X amount of person as Governor General. Not even a courtesy. And you hear what the communication director says is the right of the government. The government's right will be measured and tested on that day. That day is on its way. One thing the government cannot stop is time. June the 6th is 2 years. The time is moving. You can be vindictive now. You can do whatever you want now. One thing you cannot stop. You can't stop tomorrow being Friday and the day after being Saturday.
I want us to go back to the issue of the Governor General, but first I want to ask you about the OKEU. What were the plans under the Labour Party government as far as the OKEU is concerned?
Very clear. Very clear. A report as at March 31st, 2016, new National Hospital Commissioning Project Status Report and development of a sustainable financing mechanism for St. Lucia's health sector. Very, very clear. And the report that was made a document of the House, it outlines clearly what was the government's position as far as the OKU hospital was concerned. And it is very clear, and we don't have time. And these programs are so short, we don't have time to go into the details.
But basically, did you have any plans to privatize OKEU?
Never. And it says there that the hospital would be run by a statutory board. In February 2015, the Millennium Heights Medical Complex Act of 2015 had been passed. And that act is there for everybody to see, which looked at the hospital as a statutory board. And I want to make a point quickly, Andrew, before you go. You heard the government not talking about public-private partnership and trying to say it's good. That's the same government that threw out the idea of building an airport, public-public partnership, you know. That's the same government. I mean, you heard it. Oh yes, we're going to make a public-private partnership with the hospital. But that's the same government that said a public-private partnership was not good for an airport. But people's lives, you put them in the hospital. But
what about the fact that, what about the thought that maybe we, as a country, we aren't able to afford to run a hospital such as OKEU?
And that is why there was a document prepared, development of a sustainable financing mechanism for the social health sector. A document is prepared. What we needed was discussion on that document, continued discussion, and not the idea or the saying that you're going to privatize it. Discussion. What a government that is based on doing things for people and not for political retribution. Here's what they would say. Gentlemen, we have an OKE hospital, like Dr. Kenny Anthony did. We won the election. The government won. They don't have to say they won. Everybody knows they won the election. Everybody knows they go to Parliament and the IT will have it. So to play, I'm the boss, I won. You've lost your right. That's not necessary. You won. Everybody knows you won. It's immature and petty to remind people that you won. You won already. We know that. We accept it. We're in opposition. You do whatever you want first. You have no problem with that. You won. Here's what a serious government would say. Gentlemen, we are in a crisis. We started hospital from 2002. We are trying to build a hospital. It's complete now. It's spanned over 2 governments. We need to finance it. Leader of the opposition, appoint somebody. A government appoint somebody. An economist in the Ministry of Finance, a health economist, a doctor, SMDA. Let us sit and work on a plan to finance this hospital. 2 years, Remember, our government invited them years ago to do that. And then we would sit and we would discuss the financing. But this arrogance and this idea, listen, we are the boss, we can do whatever we want, is something that is what's plaguing this government, and not understanding that why is it doing that? People are suffering. Why is you playing you are the boss and do whatever you want? People are suffering. People are suffering, Andre. Health, I can fall sick. I can fall sick. You can fall sick. And as the medical people tell you, even though you can afford to go to take a helicopter and you can afford to go to Martinique, the critical time when all of us fall sick is the first half hour. That's a critical time. And no helicopter can pick you up in the first half hour. You understand? It takes time. So the government is not, what the government is doing, it's not horses doing it, Not horses. You're doing it for human beings. Look at the effort that's put towards horses. You're doing it for human beings. What we're saying is that cut off the politics. This is health. In the final analysis, you are in government. Everybody knows you're in government. But this is health. Stop the political upmanship. Stop the back and forth. Let us clear the slate and let's deal with the issues of people dying. That's all we're saying. And I'll tell you something. It's not something we've been saying now, I wrote the Prime Minister. That's not something we say now. Our party did not start with an aggressive idea towards the government, towards health, I want you to recall that. Because people speak and they try to have convenient memories. We didn't start with any aggressive thing, We started, listen to me. Our position on the hospital is clear. No demolition, no alternative use, construct the hospital. We have been clear in this regard. But the government, instead of listening to us, they search people's houses, they talk about director of public prosecution, they said about all sorts of things. Instead of listening to the basic thing we were saying, people's lives at stake. And that's the point I'm making, Andre. People's lives at stake. You understand? You can have all investment you want. The government is having a meeting, talk about investment and this and that. All these are useless if you don't have good health sector. If there's an accident, God bless us. Now, at Hiwano Airport, where are people going? So, that's what's important. So all the investment and new jobs, all these things are insignificant based if your health infrastructure is not good.
Okay. Let's move on to DSH now. Has your party's position shifted on DSH?
No. Our position has not shifted. And talking about DSH, I want to just secure a little bit into brands. You heard the Prime Minister talk about brands, the St. Lucia brand. Do you know we've just lost a major brand, St. Lucia Jazz?
Why do you say that?
Because St. Lucia Jazz was a brand. Now, when you have a brand means, I'll tell you something, Andrew. Anytime you talk about toothpaste, what do you talk about? What do you think about?
Colgate.
Right. Soft drink, Coke,
Coca-Cola,
Pepsi, that's a brand. Okay? St. Lucia Jazz, brand. St. Lucia Jazz became one of the world's top 7 festivals. Now, the government, if the government wasn't tunnel visioned in making the opposition look bad and trying to disrupt what they say is our legacy, you know what they would have done? They'd have done their internal changes to jazz and never announce to the world that St. Lucia Jazz would be no longer. They should never do that. They should never announce to the world that St. Lucia Jazz would be no longer how it is. And then the government has the audacity to proclaim jazz as a success and give it 3 years, it will continue. Why do you need 3 years to build something when you had built it already? So you've demolished a building, like you want to do to the hospital, to build another one. You're demolishing the jazz festival to build another one in 3 years. It's just political pettiness and political vindictiveness. The government could have made all the changes. You say that we spend $11 million, which wasn't true. You want to spend $2 million, spend $2 million. But do not announce to the world that you're going to, St. Lucia Jazz will be no longer. And look what has happened. I'll tell you something. Jazz Week. And you know, and what the government does, they try to put wool over people's eyes. Jazz Week. Every small hotel in the country, that's the only week they made money. That's a fact. Go to the small hotels and tell them how many people they had for jazz this year. Go to the vendors. People used to make, people's creativity came out. Mugs, T-shirts, all kind of things. St. Lucia Jazz. People's creativity was out. People used to buy outfits. It wasn't UWPs or Labour Party people that used to do that, you know. The vendors were from all parties. The guest houses were, everybody was there. And tell me something. The government proclaimed there was a successful jazz festival and they brought it back to a January. All sorts of PR foolishness. Look, you think last week was the same week St. Lucia used to have 3 years ago? Even the blind person can tell you, but the government doesn't admit it makes a mistake. The government is arrogant and they try to cover their mistakes by untruths. So they say that they never said that they will spend $12 million in the hospital. The minister was clear on Carry FM. It'll cost $12 million. They said they put containers, etc., for $12 million. But you know, also, instead of trying to say, listen to me, we misspoke, we made a mistake, let's move on. So the government has crashed jazz, so St. Lucia has lost a brand.
Okay.
You know what will happen? St. Kitts will take over. St. Kitts will take the position where he had first jazz concerned.
So let's get back to DSH now,
Yes.
in terms of your party's position.
We are saying we still have not got any information on DSH. I wrote the Prime Minister, he didn't even answer me. Our position on DSH is the same.
And what's that position?
The agreement, as we know it is, as the Prime Minister said, was authentic. It's not a good agreement. We do not support it. Period. Right. And we're saying that the Prime Minister must come back to the table with DSH or tell us what changes have happened to the DSH agreement. Very clear.
Okay. Now, let's go to a point you made earlier concerning the Governor General. Mr. Pierre, what I want you to do first is to take us back, right, to when Mr. Snack, Mr. Never Snack, was a member of your party. What happened back then? And by the way, were you an active member of the party then?
Yes, little boy. I can even give you stories which I won't tell you on the air. Little boy, just in a thing. I was, you see, and that is why they tried to attack me. My political historical memory is very, very clear.
Well, good. So take us back then.
On these things.
What exactly happened as far as that was concerned?
About Never Snack? You really want to go there?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Why are we going there?
Yeah, because it's important, because some people even within your own party feel that you should even make a definitive statement, you know, saying that if and when you return to office, that, you know, you will not have him as the Governor General. Also, remember in a previous program when you were here, you said that if and when you become Prime Minister, you would be making certain changes and so on, certain things that you'll be doing differently, right? So, but currently, you kind of give us the impression that number one, you boycotted his swearing in and so on, that sort of thing, and seeming to give the impression that you haven't forgiven the gentleman for what happened back then. Now, a lot of St. Lucians are in the dark as to exactly what happened. So take us back, please, and tell us exactly what happened so we could understand why your party is taking such a strong position on that issue.
You see, I don't want to sound as if we're going personal against Never Snack. No. When I see Never Snack, I say hello to him, the Governor General. What we are against is the decision, the people who made the decision to make the gentleman Governor General. That's what we are against. Now I'll tell you why. You have a discussion about There's nothing wrong. People have changed political allegiance. We know that. People have changed. They've come from one place to another. We know all that. People have crossed the floor. We know all that. What we're saying is the sequence of events that happened at the time.
Well, please tell us.
Here's a gentleman who was the leader of the party. He gave it up, and he made John Hunt leader of the party. Agreed. He ran an election in 1987, I think the 6th of April, on one ticket, the Labour Party's ticket. He had no problems with the party. Absolutely no problems. At least he didn't say it.
Mm-hmm.
He ran again on the 30th of April. On the same party seat. For the same constituency. He won the election again. He didn't come and say, gentlemen, I'm leaving you all, even though I won twice, because you all did me this, that, the other. So I'm leaving. We sit together and we form committees of the House. Committees. Who is heading this committee, who is heading that committee. The gentleman says nothing about his disagreement. And the morning of the thing, you go across the floor. You literally walk and go on the other side.
So up to now, you still have no idea as to why he did that?
He said why he did it. He said it publicly. If you notice his speech, I can't take it tomorrow, he said it. But all of you saying...
So what is it that he couldn't take anymore?
That's what he said. I don't want to go into what he says. You have to ask him. What I'm saying to you is that we think that the principle is bad for democracy. That's what we say, the principle. And it's not a personal thing. You see, too many things in Lucia are dealt with at a personal level. You don't Pierre. He's the leader of the opposition and the prime minister. Not Chastney, the prime minister. You understand? Too many things are done at that level. The principle, and if it wasn't Neville Snack, it was Jack Jones, the Labour Party would do the same thing. It's a principle that we oppose. Not necessarily the man, the principle. And that's the position. We think the principle was a rape of our democracy. We thought it was wrong. And we think the Governor General situation is the government is supposed to be a unifier. The Governor General is not supposed to be a person that as soon as he stands up, 37,000 people are opposed to him. That's not supposed to happen. We think you should find an individual who at least 80% of the people, 90% of the people would say is a fitting individual. It's nothing personal against Neville Snack. I have nothing personal against Neville Snack. I want to make it abundantly clear because people like to make this thing personal. It's not personal. It's the principle and the action that we oppose.
So, as I said, some people within your own party want a definitive statement on his future if and when you were to win the next elections. Would you like to do that right now?
No. What I'm going to tell you is that the Labour Party will review all these appointments when they get back in the government. But the Labour Party did not condone and does not condone the actions of Mr. Neville Snack.
So are there other things that your party feels just as strongly about that if and when you get back into office you will change or review? One
very, very quickly. The Labour Party doesn't condone how the government treats parliamentarians.
For example?
I'll tell you something, Andrew. I'm the parliamentary representative for Castries. I can't get a drain cleaned here. You heard Ernest Hiller this morning. We cannot get a drain cleaned in our constituency. We can't get a drain cleaned in our constituency. We can get nothing done. Last week, some people came to me and said to me, Pierre, they are given contracts to clean the sidewalks, and they tell me I must go to X amount of person. Somebody that I lost, that I defeated in the election. That's what I said. I think when we get into government, we will not do that. I can assure you. The government that I lead will not treat parliamentarians like that. That's an assurance I can give you. I can assure you that.
So what, as far as St. Jude is concerned now, what if the government decides to build a new hospital, which they will, if they decide to do that?
I've told you.
How would you handle that?
We will continue to advocate. And listen, people say that all the time.
No,
it's a cop-out. No.
What I'm saying is, would you, for example, because you feel so strongly about the issue of St. Jude being finished, would you, for example, if they commission a new hospital and then they use the other one, the old St. Jude, well, when I say old, you know what I mean, for some other clinic or something, would you now go back now to using that same structure and to finish it for?
And that is the problem when governments take bad decisions. And I'm glad you brought it up. So we found out, and that is why we are putting people on warning. We are saying to them, the opposition does not support that. That's why we're making it clear to the people, all those involved. The opposition does not support taking the building and use it for alternative use. Our position is clear on that.
So if and when you get back into office,
Be warned that was always our position. That's all.
so what about the issue of the DSH now? If it goes ahead with its current form, current arrangement, current agreement?
That's the point we made. We do not support it in its current arrangement, and we're saying to you that that is our position, and we reserve the right as a government to do what we see fit, based on the fact that we have opposed it originally. That's not something new. We've said from the beginning, our position on St. Jude, our position on the OKU, our position on the DSH is not hidden. If you notice, we haven't taken, and I want you to note that. Have you ever heard the Labour Party take any strong positions on other investments?
No.
Exactly. We haven't gone on central government, and when they tell you, oh, we have lost the rights. Whoever the Labour Party said, listen to me, the Labour Party said, or I said, the fuel tax is a bad tax. Right? And history is proving that I'm right. But we've never gone and said, we'll do this, we'll do that when we get in power. We've never done that. We never said we'll find the 680 that they've hidden in the gas. We never said so. But we've taken these strong positions on these free issues. And I want you to know that. So when people talk about the Labour Party is opposing and we've lost the right June 2nd, we make our position. Legislation comes, we make our position. We state our position, but we never say that when again the government will stop that. But we've taken a strong position on these three issues.
Okay, so before we end, let's go back to
I thought
the...
you gave us 10 minutes. And
I'll have to ask Mr. Lick for permission.
Russell? Russell says, I'm his student. Where is he?
He's across there. He's across there.
Tell him, give us 10 minutes.
Let's talk about the rally now.
Yes.
What do you hope to achieve?
Now, we got lost a little bit in that thing. People are saying what the opposition will do. And I think it's very unfair. We live in a democratic society. We live in a democratic country. This opposition is not prone to violence. We think violence is bad. We think violence will disrupt the country, and we intend to run the country. All we can do in opposition is to advocate, to pressure the government, to make our arguments, to make our points known, to agitate, to pressure, to make our points known, and to inform people. And when necessary, go to the courts. That's what this opposition will offer you. We'll demonstrate when we can. We will make our thing, but we're not going to get involved in any business that is outside the law.
And talking about the courts, I think the former Prime Minister, MP for Beaufort South, did say that...
yes, he is taking the DSH project to court.
So this is a decision that he has made. Does it have to do with the party?
Yeah, but the member for Beaufort South, the former Prime Minister, is the parliamentary representative of Beaufort South. In his capacity as parliamentary representative of Beaufort South, he's taken the DSH to court, fully endorsed and supported by the Labour Party.
So this is still moving full steam ahead.
The lawyers and they say the wheel of justice grinds slowly. So we have no control over the pace of the courts.
So getting back to the rally now, this Sunday.
The rally is a means again of advocacy, because one thing politicians are afraid of, they're afraid of people. Because no matter how they try to make, oh, we're in control, we won the election, you've lost the right from June 6th, they know another June 6th is coming. And that's the beauty about our democracy. That's the beauty. Politicians have to account. And we accounted. That's why we lost. And I don't want people to judge us and say we lost. Of course we know we lost. We've accepted the fact that we've lost the election. We know that. But the point we're making is that the time of reckoning is there. And on Sunday, we want people to come to show the government. It doesn't have to be Labour Party people, you know. People who are concerned about health. People who are concerned about if they fall sick, they want to get proper medical care. People who cannot afford to take a helicopter and go abroad. We want to stop there here having barbecues. Andre, come to my office. I'll see about 5 or 6 letters. People write, raise funds. This is unconscionable. And people are sick. Look at children. They have things in the they have growth on their skull. I mean, cancer people who support. I mean, they have to raise funds. They have to have barbecues for the health thing. That's not politics. It's not about making Pierre look bad or who is not speaking the truth. It's about people's health. We say to the government, have a conscience. Stop being callous and uncaring. That's what we're saying on Sunday. Have a conscience. Forget about that. Let's get to a level playing field. Let's get these hospitals going and let the country move forward.
So what time are we looking at?
5 o'clock. I'm inviting all solutions. It doesn't have to be only Labour Party people. We are the people who are pushing. But the Viewford concerned citizens are concerned. And they will can't say Labour Party. The American Dental Association are concerned. You can't say they are Labour Party. The TUF is concerned. You can't say they are Labour Party. The nurses in St. Jude are concerned. You can't say they are Metal Party. And then we're not going to have any closed door session. It's an open session for everybody to come because we want to make our messages heard. You heard last night, United Workers' Party had to put people out of their thing. Now, I'm not saying to the press what to do, but if you come in and you're saying the truth, why do you have to put people out of a public meeting? The thing was publicized as a public meeting. I wanted to go, but I wanted to go listen because I'd be happy because it's for years. I've written the Prime Minister on that regard. I sent to the Prime Minister 11,000 petitions, 11,000 signatures. Instead of he did with the petitions, to his credit, he wrote it back and he told me how would I intend to open the hospital. Now you understand where we're going back and forth. He didn't come and say, let's discuss how we open it, how they intend. And so, this is the back and forth. We're saying time for back and forth is over. People are getting angry because people are dying. The Labour Party does not want to get involved in any measures that are outside the law. But we're saying to the Prime Minister, and let us stop this upmanship, this you lie, or this half-truths, or this kind of trying to speak all kind of languages. Let us deal with the health issue because we have a health crisis.
So you're starting at 5
o'clock
Sunday afternoon?
on Sunday at Viewford.
Okay, so is there a route or anything? And
No. We just drive to Viewford and we rally. We didn't apply for any demonstration, just a rally. The demonstration may come, but that situation is just a rally.
So rally in a sense that you'll be having speakers and so on?
Having speakers, having people coming to give testimonies, and you want everybody to come. Come and show you don't have to be a Labour Party person to come. It's not a red shirt affair. Red shirt people will come. We invite, they are our core. We want all them to come. But it's a thought. And I want people to come and listen to the arguments because we don't want the arguments to be blinded. Come and listen to the arguments. People are dying because the hospitals are in a horrendous state. Health care is crucial. It's for everyone. Let's deal with it.
We gave you an extra 10 minutes, huh, Mr. Pierre? For the record.
Andre gave us that?
For the record.
Russell, thanks a lot, man.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Leader of the Opposition. Until next time. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Andre. And sorry for the 10 minutes late.
Yes.
New arrival!